All right, we're back, and still not better today, but it's week 4, lesson 4, part 3, and this is going to be a kind of a jam-packed lesson. This today, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. So it's good that I'm recording everything because there's going to be a lot of piece parts to it. Okay, first order of business, we should talk about your new assignment. So assignment number 2 is coming out today. It's up on eCentennial. So if you actually go to eCentennial, you'll see it up there. Just put it up. It's due October 23rd. So let me just pull the details up. If you actually look at it, it's almost identical to assignment number 1, right? So you should be very familiar with the format. So let's take. So we're going to do. We've already done a 2D shooter of a type, right? That's your first assignment. Now we're going to work on a 2D platformer, which is going to incorporate physics, right? So before we were doing stuff with just moving things around by switching locations of the object that you're working with. Now we're actually going to use physics to propel you, to make you jump, to make you fall, all that kind of stuff. That's what this game is all about. Again, the tutorial I asked you to do, to look at was this Unity 3D tutorial. I'm just going to go there. Let's see if it'll actually come up this time. If I click on it. It should. Here we are. So it's called Creating a Basic Platformer, like I mentioned last day. So go through this. This is about an hour or so of tutorial that you have to go through. It's pretty good. It's pretty clean. It's going to get you to download 2 different packages, free packages from the asset store. So this is a lot of 2D, kind of assets you can use for your games, right? But what I'd ask you to do is please use your own assets when it comes to your sprites and all that kind of stuff, because I want you to try and make your games as unique as possible. Like you're making your own, right? Now they're going to be your own anyway if you follow what I've asked you to do, because it's going to be something that is different from everybody else. So let's take a look here. So it's due again Friday, October the 23rd. So because we have a break, next week is our last teaching week, and by the way, for sure next week I'll have a little bit of a quiz. I also start off with our 2D platformer tutorial, my own, that I'll do in addition to what you're going to be doing on your own, learning, right? Just like we did the mail pilot one, we'll do another one, right? And we'll build out a little platformer. That'll be starting on, I guess will be the Monday, right? When we get together, right? So that's the one thing we're going to be putting together for Monday, right? A little 2D platformer that we'll be doing, right? So it's the same. All the rules are the same. Instead of you doing the the 2D side scroller or whatever you're going to be and it says use the standard keys WASD for player movement. Again, as an option, you may want to use your mouse. We'll talk about how to do mouse movement today, as opposed to just moving with your keys. And I got to thank Joshua for that one, because he was pushing me. One of the other students from the class pushed me to show him how to do mouse movement for his game. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that today as well. There's some tricks involved how to do that, because you have to kind of convert from your global space to local space, coordinate space, or else your mouse movement will be offset. We'll talk about that. But more or less, this assignment is identical in points, in external documentation, everything else. Now, once you've got your external documentation going, then it's the same one that you can use the same kind of idea for your other game, and the same kind of stuff. Empower, fire bullets, power-ups, all this extra stuff that you can still do, and other really cool things that you can add to make your game kind of very interesting. Again, weighted 10% of your final grade. So here's the plan. So you've got your side scroller or whatever shooter, right? You've got your platformer, right? That's the second one. We're going to do a first-person shooter, right? Coming up second half of the semester. So we're going to actually do a 3D game, right? Talk about that a little bit, and how to create maps and all that stuff. Very, very typical kind of thing, right? And then you'll have your final project, right, that you can work with one other person, right, on. So think of it this way. You've got 3 projects that you can springboard off of, right, to make the final project for yourself or make something new. My recommendation, just from a timing perspective, is springboard off one of your projects. So let's say, for example, you're working with a partner. Let's say you two are working for the partner. You guys are partners, let's just say, right? And you like his platformer, and he likes your shooter, right? And what you can do is incorporate some of the same 2 elements together to make 3 levels of your final project. That's what you're going to need to do, 3 levels. one thing that we're going to be talking about that I haven't asked you to do for your platformer is I'm going to show you next week, starting next week, and for the tutorial that we're going to do for the platformer, I'm going to show you how to do moving between scenes. So you're going to do some, how do I move from scene 1 to scene 2 to scene 3, that kind of thing. So you have all the piece parts you need by the time, so that by the time you get to your final project, you know you've done a bunch of different things, right? And it'll prepare you for game programming 2. Game programming 2 should push you even more. Introduce things like network, multiplayer gaming, that kind of thing, and more AI, more pathfinding, more raycasting, all that kind of stuff, more advanced stuff that you can't really know how to do. I can't pack it into this course. It's already packed full of stuff that you need to learn, and it's not easy stuff, right? One of the quotes I love is, "Nothing worthwhile is easy," right? Well, making a game is not easy, no matter how you slice it. And it's when you learn C#, as an example, you've learned C# programming 1 and programming 2, and you can do some basic things like accounting programs and some little basic forms, and then you can outthink some of this stuff. You can sit there and you get an assignment, and you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I don't have to do any planning. Not so with game, all right? When you get into gaming, you need to understand how to do things, and it becomes more of a bet. How do I plan my project so I can get it done? And you'll learn that's something you need to do. So assignment 2, again, due October 23rd. It sounds like it's far off, but really what it works out to be is this. You've got next week, right? Because your assignment 1 is due Monday, right? You got next week. You have the break, right? Which doesn't really count, right? Because, I know what you guys do on break, right? Yeah, Thanksgiving, you're going to see your girlfriends, or you're going to go hang out with family, or whatever. You're going to go see movies, whatever you're going to do, right? But you're definitely not going to do any schoolwork, because that doesn't happen during break. I know that, right? And then what's going to happen is you get back, right? So that officially week 6 starts after the break. So you have week 6, and that's it. So now the good thing is some of the same things that you're doing here in Shooter can be used in Platformer, right? It's not like so different from one to the other. The challenge is that one uses a different set of controls and physics, and the other one than our first one. So how do we do that? And that's what I'm saying. Please, if you're going to do anything, please look at this tutorial. I know people are like, I can't, I have no time to look at the tutorial. I'll just do the tutorial with you, Tom. Yes, okay, great. But this is another opportunity for us to have another view on how they do things a little differently, and then we can incorporate some of these same things into our game. Any questions around assignment number 2, right? No questions. Okay, that's great. It's fantastic. I thought I heard a question, but it was just outside the door. So that's it for this one. I'm going to close this one now. So again, it's on eCentennial. So if I go back up on eCentennial for a second, it's on eCentennial. It's in a Dropbox. Again, if you notice, there's the due date that's posted, and I've also changed the due date for our little one. Right. I'm going to try and mark everything else before assignment 2 is done. So I'll have your first set of marks for assignment 1. I'd like to try and give you some feedback for your game. I've seen some of the stuff you've come up with, and I'm pretty impressed. I was looking at some people yesterday. They bought some assets from the asset store. Totally cool. I'm okay with that. Right. And it wasn't expensive. It was like $10. Right. They spent like $10 in the asset store to buy a couple of assets. Right. And I'm totally cool with that. If you guys buy assets so you make your game look good, this is your game, man. This is the stuff that you're going to be showing off at an interview, right? Or even putting as adding to your portfolio. You want this to be neat. You don't want it to be ugly, right? So someone asked the other day, "What if my UI is ugly?" Right? Why should it be? Right? Like, work a little bit on it. And again, you can improve it. Obviously, when you get to your final project, that's when you want to really, deliver a better game. Okay, so I'm going to stop recording this one. I know it's a small one, but I only want to talk about assignment number 2 in this one so that we can move on to other things. So you can skip it. If you've already watched this, you've heard assignment 2, you can go back and we can talk about the next piece. All right, so I'm just going to stop recording this now.